In the car world, some names just mean more. Institutions you don't mess with. For decades, the German TÜV inspection has been that gold standard, the final word on whether a car is safe and reliable. It's a brutal, uncompromising technical exam that every single car in Germany must pass. Fail, and you're off the road. It's that simple. And the latest report just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the entire industry. The TÜV report, which is based on data from millions of real-world vehicle inspections, has a new king of defects, a new car at the very bottom of the list. That car? The Tesla Model Y. This isn't just a bad headline, it's a public relations catastrophe. The world's best-selling electric car is, according to Germany's most respected safety authority, the single least reliable new car you can buy. This is a stunning indictment that goes way beyond panel gaps. We're talking about core safety components, failing suspensions, corroded brakes, and faulty lights. But this story is more complex than it looks. How can a car that aces every crash test on the planet also be ranked as a safety risk? How can a company seen as the peak of car tech be failing at the basics? And what does this all mean for millions of Tesla owners and for the future of electric cars? Today, we are tearing down the official TÜV report. We'll expose the catastrophic failures that landed Tesla at the bottom of the barrel. We'll show you the data on European rivals that are doing dramatically better. And most importantly, we'll get to the bottom of why this is happening. This is a story about a technical collapse, a clash of cultures between Silicon Valley and German engineering, and a brutal lesson that Tesla is being forced to learn in public. First things first, let's be crystal clear about what this TÜV report actually is. This isn't a customer satisfaction survey. It's not about the infotainment screen or the feel of the vegan leather. The Technischer Überwachungsverein, or Technical Inspection Association, is the government-mandated body that handles Germany's mandatory roadworthiness tests. These inspections are required for cars once they turn 3 and every 2 years after that. Think of it as the most rigorous physical your car will ever get. Inspectors put every car on a lift. They shake the suspension, test the brakes on a dynamometer, and check every last light and wire for wear, corrosion, or fatigue. It is a purely technical, exhaustive assessment. For this latest report, the TÜV analyzed data from over 9 million of these real-world inspections. And in the critical category for new vehicles, those 2 to 3 years old, the results were jaw-dropping. Out of 110 different models ranked, the Tesla Model Y placed 110th, dead last. The numbers are genuinely appalling. The Tesla Model Y had a significant or dangerous defect rate of 17.3%. To put that in perspective, the average failure rate for cars this age is just 6.5%. That means the Model Y is failing its very first safety check at a rate almost 3 times the national average. Even more damning, TÜV officials called this out as one of the highest defect rates they've seen for a new car in years. It's a historically bad result, and the Model Y isn't alone. Its sibling, the Model 3, which previously held the title for the worst car, didn't do much better. It clocked in with a 13.1% defect rate, landing at just 2 spots from the bottom. This shows a clear, undeniable pattern of poor durability across Tesla's most popular cars. So, what's actually breaking? The report is brutally specific, and the problems aren't minor. They cluster in 3 critical safety areas. First, the suspension. This is maybe the most alarming issue. TÜV inspectors found an abnormally high rate of failures in core axle and suspension components. We're talking premature wear on crucial parts that connect your wheels to the car's frame. These are what control stability and handling. When they fail, It can lead to sketchy steering, rapid tire wear, and an unstable feeling, especially at high speeds. This isn't just a squeak or a rattle, it's the structural integrity of the car. Second, the brakes. This is a weird one because it's a problem for a lot of EVs, but it seems to be hitting Tesla the hardest. The report notes widespread issues with corroded or worn brake discs. Because EVs use regenerative braking so much, using the motor to slow the car, the physical brake discs and pads are rarely used. In a damp climate like Germany's, where roads are also salted, that lack of use is a huge problem. The iron brake discs don't get hot enough to burn off moisture and rust. Over time, that light rust turns into deep corrosion, which is an automatic fail. The brakes might still work, but their performance in an emergency could be compromised, and the inspectors make no exceptions. And third, lighting. This might sound trivial, but in Germany, they take it very seriously. Teslas were busted for a high number of faults with headlights and taillights, from being misaligned and dazzling oncoming traffic to just not working. These are the kinds of things that on any other car would be caught and fixed during a routine service. But as we'll see, Tesla's philosophy on maintenance creates a perfect storm for these failures. Suspension, brakes, and lighting, these aren't luxury features. They are fundamental pillars of safety. They let you control the car and be seen. And for nearly 1 in 5 Model Ys in Germany, these systems are failing a basic check within 3 years. That is the cold, hard data at the heart of this collapse. The TÜV report is a bombshell on its own, but it gets even more explosive when you put it in context. This isn't just about one car failing a test. It's about a deep paradox and a growing divide in the EV world. The paradox is this: how can a brand famous for its incredible crash safety also be condemned for its terrible reliability? When you look at Tesla's Euro NCAP crash test results, they are spectacular. Both the Model Y and Model 3 have 5-star ratings, with amazing scores for protecting occupants. These tests prove a Tesla is an exceptionally safe place to be during an accident. But the TÜV report isn't about surviving a crash. It's about preventing one in the first place by making sure the car's basic parts don't fail. It asks, will the brakes work perfectly on a wet night 3 years from now? Will the suspension hold up in an emergency? This is where the story splits. Euro NCAP tells you how well a car protects you when things go wrong. TÜV tells you how likely things are to go wrong because of mechanical failure. The data shows that while Tesla has mastered the first part, it's failing badly at the second. And this isn't an EV problem. According to the data, it's a Tesla-specific problem. And that's the most damning part. If all electric cars were this bad, you could just blame the new technology. But that's not what's happening. The report shows a whole league of European EVs that are passing with flying colors. Let's look at the numbers. While the Model Y is at the bottom with a 17.3% failure rate, the all-electric Mini Cooper SE has a defect rate of just 3.5%. The Audi Q4 e-tron, a direct rival, is at a mere 4.0%. Volkswagen's ID3 and ID4, which have had their own software issues, still perform way better, with failure rates around 5.5% and 6.1%. This comparison is brutal. It shows that companies like BMW, Audi, and Fiat have built electric cars that don't have these reliability issues. They've figured out how to engineer around the challenges of weight and regenerative braking. This points to a huge difference in philosophy. Legacy automakers have a century of experience building cars that last. They have deep institutional knowledge about materials, wear and tear, and what millions of miles on real roads do to mechanical parts. Tesla, on the other hand, approached the car as a piece of technology first. Their focus was on the battery, the software, and the giant screen. The actual car parts, the suspension, the chassis, the nuts and bolts, often seemed like an afterthought. This report suggests the bill for that approach is now coming due. It proves you can't just disrupt the laws of physics and material fatigue. Building a durable car is a hard-won skill. And right now, the German data shows traditional automakers are applying that skill to their new EVs far more successfully than Tesla. This isn't just a loss for Tesla. It's a huge win for the likes of Volkswagen and BMW in their home market. They're proving an EV can be both high-tech and mechanically solid. Tesla, for now, is only delivering on half of that promise. Okay, this story has a lot of layers, and we're about to get to the most important part, the why. But I want to hear from you, especially the Tesla owners watching. Does this report match your experience? Have you had issues with the suspension, brakes, or build quality? And for those who own other EVs, what has your reliability been like? Drop a comment below because your real-world experience is a crucial part of this story. All right, let's get back to it. So far, the evidence seems overwhelming. The headlines write themselves. Tesla, quality, catastrophe. German engineering trumps Silicon Valley. And on the surface, that's all true. But the best analyses know that a shocking statistic is often the start of the story, not the end. To really get why Tesla is failing so badly, we have to ask a critical question. Is the car truly this bad, or is it a modern vehicle being judged by outdated rules, combined with a radical and perhaps flawed ownership model? The truth, as usual, is somewhere in the middle. Let's start with the brakes. The failing brake discs on Teslas are the poster child for this conflict. As we said, Teslas use regenerative braking for almost all of their slowing down. Many owners in one-pedal mode can go for days without ever touching the physical brake pedal. Here's the problem. The TÜV inspection is a friction-based test. Inspectors want to see clean, smooth brake discs. They don't, and currently can't, measure the effectiveness of regenerative braking. So when they see a disc with a layer of rust from disuse, they fail it. Is a rusty brake disc a safety hazard? The answer is maybe. Some argue that in an emergency, that rust could slightly reduce the brake's initial bite. Others say 1 or 2 hard stops will clean it right off, and it's a cosmetic issue being treated as a catastrophic failure. The TÜV's position is clear. The friction brake is a non-negotiable backup, and it must be perfect. From their perspective, if a car's design leads to the decay of a critical safety system, that's a design flaw. This single issue raises a huge question. Does the legendary TÜV test itself need to be updated for the EV age? The second, and arguably more important piece of the puzzle is Tesla's radical approach to maintenance, or rather, its lack of it. Since 2019, Tesla has had no mandatory service intervals. Traditional automakers require you to bring your car in every year for inspection and preventative work. A VW Golf will have seen a technician at least twice before its first TÜV inspection. During those visits, a mechanic would check the headlights, inspect the brakes, and look over the suspension. This is a crucial difference. A VW going into its first test has been pre-screened by the dealer. A Tesla, on the other hand, often shows up having never seen a service center. The owner has simply driven it for 3 years, just like Tesla encourages. This means every little problem that has developed is presented to the inspector. That slightly off-center headlight you can fix from the touchscreen, failure. The surface rust on the brakes, failure. Add in the fact that many Teslas are driven more miles than the average car, and you get more wear and tear. Tesla's approach creates a system where small, fixable problems pile up until they result in a failed inspection. So, is the car falling apart? Or is the owner, following the manufacturer's own guidance, just not doing the routine maintenance that other car owners have done for generations? The TÜV's managing director pointed to this directly, stating that the high rate of lighting and brake defects shows clear shortcomings in service and maintenance. This reframes the narrative. The problem isn't just that the parts might be weak. The problem is a systemic clash between Tesla's tech product model and the mechanical realities of a car. Tesla sold a dream of a maintenance-free car that gets better with software updates, but a car is not a smartphone. It's a 5,000-pound object, and this report is the first piece of hard data suggesting Tesla's dream has crashed into reality. The failure isn't just in the parts, it's in the philosophy. This disastrous TÜV report isn't happening in a vacuum. It's the technical proof behind a market collapse that was already underway. For years, Tesla was untouchable in Europe. That dominance is now crumbling. The sales numbers tell a brutal story. In Germany, through 2024 and into early 2025, Tesla's sales went into a free fall, with new registrations plummeting by over 40% in 2024 and cratering by another 60% in early 2025. This wasn't because the EV market was shrinking. In fact, while Tesla was in decline, BMW actually overtook them in EV registrations for the year. This wasn't just a German problem. Across Europe, Sweden, Norway, the Netherlands, the story was the same. Dramatic double-digit declines for Tesla, while competitors surged. VW Group solidified its spot as the EV market leader in Germany. So what's driving this mass exodus? The reliability issues exposed by the TÜV report are a huge factor. In an engineering-focused market like Germany, a reputation for poor quality is poison. The report gives consumers a powerful, data-backed reason to choose a VW or an Audi over a Model Y. But there's another powerful force at play, the brand itself, and specifically its CEO, Elon Musk. His increasingly controversial public persona has caused significant brand damage in Europe. Reports have repeatedly linked sharp sales declines to a growing consumer backlash. Many corporate fleet buyers, a huge part of the German market, have also grown wary, with some major companies even removing Tesla from their approved car lists. The brand that was once seen as cool and futuristic is now, for many Europeans, associated with quality problems and a polarizing CEO. This creates a perfect storm. When you were the only game in town, buyers might have overlooked these issues. But today, a German consumer can buy an electric SUV from a trusted domestic brand that has a better reliability rating and doesn't come with all the baggage. So you've got a two-front war. On one hand, the product is showing mechanical weakness. On the other, the brand's protective halo has been shattered. The TÜV report didn't start the fire, but it has poured gasoline on it. It transforms a vague feeling of unease into a concrete, fact-based reason to walk away. Tesla isn't just losing sales, it's losing the narrative. And in the car business, the narrative is everything. So where does all this leave us? The German TÜV report is more than just statistics. It's a reckoning. It has exposed an uncomfortable truth that Tesla, the pioneer that made EVs cool, is failing at the fundamental and frankly boring business of building durable machines. We've seen the data, the Model Y dead last. We've talked about the failing suspensions, corroded brakes, and faulty lights. But we've also looked beyond the headline. We've explored how EV tech itself clashes with old-school inspection rules. More importantly, we've seen how Tesla's own disruptive philosophy, its car-as-a-smartphone approach with no service, has set its owners up for failure at inspection time. This technical crisis is happening alongside a market collapse as competitors offer compelling and demonstrably more reliable alternatives. This doesn't mean Tesla is finished or that the Model Y is a death trap. Its crash test ratings are still top-notch. But it does mean Tesla is facing a serious identity crisis. Is it a tech company that happens to build cars? Or is it an automotive company that's great at tech? The TÜV report suggests it must become the latter to survive. This is a humbling moment for Tesla. It's a wake-up call that software can't fix everything. Now the company has a choice. It can dismiss the findings and blame the test, or it can embrace this brutal but valuable feedback from the world's most demanding car market. It can learn the lessons of traditional engineering and build cars that are not only brilliant in a crash, but also robust enough to pass an inspection 3 years later. The final question is the most important one. Is the Tesla Model Y truly a poorly made car? Or is Germany's legendary 2V test simply failing to adapt to the future? The answer, it seems, is yes. It's both. And that complex reality will define the next chapter for Tesla and for every EV manufacturer trying to win our trust.